reasons why I love you and none of them rhyme. 9 times 9, 81, Bonnie and Clyde. We got high and sat by the Wellington sign. I had one hell of a time, it's rock and roll till I...
Welcome to the Green Tea, Freedom and Truth channel. This is Tristan. It's good to have the Green Tea team back for this Wednesday, the 30th of September 2020 edition of the video log. A big thank you and much appreciation for everyone who has liked, shared, commented and subscribed. Please take a moment now to hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Also drop a comment. It's good. It lets YouTube know that people are engaging with the content. So I would appreciate that. Today we are talking about the New Zealand housing unaffordability crisis and what can be done, what steps can be taken to help rectify the situation. Before we get into a few facts and figures and that sort of thing, the Demographia International website classes affordable housing, just so we have some baselines. Affordable housing is housing that is 3 times or less of the median annual yearly income for a person. So if the average income for a country is 50,000, 3 times that would be 150,000. So anything that is over 3 times is considered unaffordable. Anything that's under 3 times the median yearly income is considered affordable housing. And for a lot of people in New Zealand, in the 90s, 70s, 80s and 90s, housing was 3 times or less the average median income. So all these baby boomers who somehow think that the housing is just risen with wages and this sort of thing, it is that is not correct. And also anything that is above 5.1 times over 5.1 or over the average yearly median income is considered severely unaffordable, according to Demographia International. And New Zealand is well into the severely unaffordable category. In a lot of places in New Zealand, housing is 10 times the average median income. So we have a housing crisis in New Zealand, and I'm just surprised why more people are not really speaking up and saying, hey, when house prices are high, rental prices are high, the gap between rich and poor is accentuated. Young people cannot get into houses. Rentals increase, business rentals increase, so the cost of everything goes up. So whereas a government at the time may raise the minimum wage by to an amount, but the cost of living is so high that it has no effect, and the employers, they just pass on this cost to customers. So I'm going to put a picture up of a graph of the New Zealand housing price increases over the past 6 or 7 years. And just before you look at the graph, know that it is not specific to the government that is in Parliament. It is, National Labour, it has increased equally as much over the two parties. But one thing I will say is, with the current government, they have really campaigned and gotten into power saying that they would bring in affordable housing, which has not been the case. So please take a look at this graph at the skyrocketing New Zealand house prices. So this is a little bit about government accountability. So they have, the current government has said affordable housing is one of their main policies and platforms that they got voted into power on. When they took power in 2017, the average medium house price was $485,500 in January of 2017. Excuse me if it's a bit windy here. It's quite a windy spring day. And this year, 2020, August of 2020, the average median house price in New Zealand is almost $680,000. So that is an increase of $200,000 in 3 years. That is huge. And even in the last year, house prices have gone up 16.4%. I'll leave links in the description box below from einz.co.nz. So everything's crashing. Economy's going down, unemployment's rising. How are house prices shooting up, continuing to rise, going up through the roof? And I listened when I interviewed Antoinette James the other day. She was saying it is part of Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, the UN, that home ownership is considered an unsustainable thing in their sustainable development goals. And that explained a few things to me, because I was wondering, I've been waiting ever since the start of the year, since the V-word situation, for house prices in New Zealand to be dropping. So how are these prices in a recession and a crash, a huge crash, have they raised 16.4% in the past 12 months? It's just, yeah, it's unbelievable, really. And I realized in America at the moment, the average median house price is 3.5 times the yearly average median income. And just the average income in New Zealand, gross before tax, is $78,000. That is around 58,000 net. 58,000 in the hand is the average yearly income in New Zealand. So we can see that it is around 7 to 10 times the average income to get a house in New Zealand. And we are so unpopulated. We have so much free land. I just struggle to understand why we can't do better. And these people that have lots of houses, in the election time 2017, the average politician owns 4.4 homes. And if you have $500,000 and you invest it in the bank, you pay a high tax rate, on your interest earned, the money you are earning from that money, you pay interest. So there's a tax amount on that. If you put that same 500,000, if you put it into a business, there's a tax. You're paying tax in your business and all the running costs of a business. But in New Zealand, if you put your 500,000 into a house, you get really good tax breaks. Excuse me for the wind. I hope the audio is still good. So there's a lot to do with our taxing system that encourages people to invest all of their cash into housing, which drives it up. There's the supply side and the demand side. The government just looks at the supply side, build houses. But in America and other places, they have a taxation on the equity in houses. So people aren't going to just, it's not the only way to earn money just by buying houses. The Kiwis buy houses, hold on to them for 10, 15 years, just sell them, and they get all of the appreciation. There's big tax breaks. If that money was in the bank or in a business, they would have been paying tax on it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing. I know the top party had a good housing policy, taxation and housing policy in the last election, 2016-17 election. They seem to have been quiet on that this year. And also in this current situation, this financial crash, the Reserve Bank's been doing quantitative easing, which is pumping free money into the system to try and keep things high, and also the interest rates are dirt cheap. So we need to look at how housing can be made more affordable, how people can get into homes and have home ownership at a more affordable rate. Yeah, and as Antoinette was saying, as if it becomes so unaffordable housing, and it's just going that way, it's going away, so anyone who's doesn't own a house currently will not be able to buy a house, and then the government can step in and say, oh, you can have these cheap or free or state apartments in a town, and people will be so desperate that they will be accepting that. And home ownership and having a place of your own has been a part of New Zealand that I have grown up in, as part of being a free sovereign being. And it was just so much easier to get houses years ago, decades ago. Even in other places now, it's easier to purchase houses. It's not, people may think it's like this all around the world. Hey, there is other places that are highly unaffordable, but for New Zealand to be like that, if people have any suggestions, I'm not an economist, please leave some information into the comment section below. But I think we as Kiwis should be, really taking a good hard look at ourselves and saying, what can we do better? What policies would be better for the country moving forward? Please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Have courage, speak your truth, support each other, have faith and have fun. Peace out.